Good morning, everybody. We are back. It is the right side of campus, and we are live here on a Thursday, September 27th, 2018. I'm your host, the big man on campus here, getting you ready for week 5 in college football, week 4 NFL. Couple games tonight, college and NFL. We'll get into those and more. Let me bring in my co-host, Donnie Rightside. Donnie, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing good. Another day, another dollar. We're going to have a Thursday night football game here. And as the old adage goes on Thursday nights, folks, if you're betting the road team, rip up your ticket and donate it to charity
Why?
because they lose repeatedly on Thursday night. One of the worst bets you can make is the road team on a Thursday night game.
Question I have is there any proof of that?
Oh, yeah. Last couple of years, sure. Since they started going on where every team had to go on a Thursday night football game, absolutely. Road team gets mauled in that game.
Oh, I hate to say it, Donnie, but we're gonna have to see some proof of that. We need to see
Yeah,
some numbers,
we'll
and
get
then
the research. We'll get the
all
research
right.
after the game.
Uh, let's get into some things here. Obviously, hit the like button. Let us know you're out there and say hello by hitting the like button. Hit the like button for us, though. We need that. It's always something we ask for. Hey, look, if you want to hit the dislike button, hit that too. Whatever you hit, just hit it. Also, make sure if you're on Twitter, you retweet the show. It's always a good way to share it and get it out to people that might not see it on a regular basis. Make sure you're checking out Sportsbook Review as well. If you're in the market for a new book, it's football season. You got basketball coming up. You got hockey, all sorts of stuff coming up. Make sure you have a variety of different books. It's important that you get the best line and you don't hurt yourself. If you only have one book and let's say another book, you can get plus 130 instead of plus 121. I mean, that might be it's only 9 cents to certain people, but hey, it makes pays out. $9 is $9. So make sure you're checking that out and you're getting the best of the number by having a variety of sports books. And welcome to everyone listening out there already. Let's get into the show here, Donnie. We'll start it out with a little drug test action. How about this? Joe Hayden not happy after a random drug test at an airport that he was in very early in the morning. Listen, NFL players don't like these rules, but it is the rule. They can do what they want. This NFL group, they can go around and drug test you, and he wasn't very happy of this. But hey, this is how it goes in the NFL.
No, you're right. Yeah, I mean it's part of the job that you have. I mean, what's next? You don't want to take a P test after the football game, and then you don't want to take one at your house, and then you say I'm going on a 4-week vacation to Africa on a safari in the summer. I'm going to smoke a ton of weed and just chill out, and I don't want to take my test there. I'll come back. This isn't the NBA. It's not run where the NBA players have like a 6 months heads up on one drug test per year that they have. The NFL actually cares about its actual players and says, look. Stay on the straight and narrow, and you get off the plane in Pittsburgh at the facility. Hey, Joe, I need you for a minute. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I've had these tests done at random places where, hey, you got to go drive over to this LabCorp place or this. Doesn't take too long. So I don't see what the big deal is. It's 3 a.m. I'm really tired. Well, just go to the bathroom, then go home, right?
Yeah, listen, I do think uh, there should be maybe a rule where overnight's a little ridiculous. I mean, you can't wait till 8 o'clock the next day
Yeah, but
when
the
the guy
reason they
wakes up.
like it, but the reason they get you before the game, after the games, it's random on that anyway. But they have to get you after the game because who knows what you could take before the game that will be out of your bloodstream or out of your body within like 48 hours. That's why most people get tested right after the game.
I hear you, but listen, if something's in your bloodstream at 3 a.m., it'll be there at 9 a.m. I mean, it's yeah, there should be a bit of a decency here to me, but again, it is random. I guess they're going to do what they got to do.
Hmm.
Um, you know, But yeah, I mean, whether it's two, I think it should be a little bit. There should be some kind of can't do it between 1 and 5 or I don't know. Again, you know how it is that when you come home from an airport. I mean,
Yeah.
you're tired, you want to get home. This is kind of ridiculous. You got to go find a bathroom and do all this stuff. I don't not side with the guy here, but these are the rules. That's what they do. And
Hmm.
look, if you're not smoking weed, you don't have anything to worry about. So, I,
Or
I'll
take it
tell you who
or
maybe they
voiding up before the game. Yeah.
Maybe they should have went and tested Everson Griffin, Donnie. That would have maybe a good idea. He didn't get
Yeah,
chosen
maybe
though.
he
Wonder why.
maybe he failed 2 or 3 times. He's a big money player, so maybe he failed 2 or 3 times, and they sort of brushed it under the rug because they're gonna nail that practice squad player Jeff who's smoking weed. That's for sure.
People checking in here. DT, Doug's, Troy, Brad, Mark, Georgia, Matthew, Vegas boy, Vegas boy. I choose to watch you over First Take or any ESPN. Well, that's great. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Hope you enjoy the show. Joey, Sean, Lucky, Jared, Patrick, Big Red. Thanks for everything, Big Man. No problem, bro. The V or Troy V, Big Yergs, all of you guys, welcome into the show. Jacob DeGrom, Donnie.
Mhm.
This guy just continues to dazzle, even though he's on a bad team. He finished the season with, unbelievable ERA, 1.7 ERA. That's unbelievable. He wraps with the Cy Young. He's not going to not. I mean, he's going to win the Cy Young. One of the best pitching seasons in history, really. But you look at Donnie. How many wins he had? Didn't he only have like 10 wins? Pretty amazing, really.
Yeah,
He only had
no, it
10
is
wins.
amazing. Yeah, it is amazing, and my favorite part about this whole DeGrom story is we know he's a dominant pitcher, right? There were people out there, May, June-ish, "No way I trade Gleyber Torres straight up for DeGrom."
Who
Oh,
wouldn't?
man, can we revisit those shows and pull those chat boxes up? My goodness, man. So
I
good,
still would.
so good. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't trade DeGrom for him is right. It would start with Gleyber Torres, and then we would move down the
No,
line, maybe a throw in on Gary Sanchez. Might even be talking
no.
about Luke Voigt after that, and maybe Andahar, and then maybe it's enough for DeGrom at this point. A 1-7. If the Yankees had DeGrom, they might win the World Series. Like that is a big enough swing right there.
It's not.
That's
It's
an
not
automatic
that's
win.
so.
That's an automatic
Here's the
win
thing.
in the playoffs. You
Here's
win
the
your wild
here's
card
the
game,
problem.
and you move on.
They don't want to trade DeGrom, so it doesn't matter what the
No, but I
Yankees would have.
understand what that was what it was when the Yankees were or the, Mets were gonna split up, and maybe should they trade DeGrom or one of their young pitchers, and I remember Yankee fans, like, just delusional as all hell, saying not Andahar traded for DeGrom, the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, come on. It
Well, I don't
starts
think
with
anyone said
him.
that. No one said they would
Gleyber
trade
Torres.
Gleyber Torres, which I wouldn't either. Gleyber Torres is a star, and he's young, and he's a great player. I'm not going to trade. I'm going to package a group of others. I wouldn't include Gleyber Torres, though. And not for nothing, I probably wouldn't do that now either. Uh, I mean, so you would do that? You would trade,
In a
you know,
heartbeat, yes, I would give up
because you
Andahar
don't have
and
any.
Torres and pitchers.
Well,
Yeah. It's about
you
win.
would trade
The Yankees have an unlimited payroll. You can always buy another bat. How about this for a trade for the Yankees, right? Give up Torres, get the Grom, then go pay for Bryce Harper or Machado. Doesn't that work a little bit better?
you would trade Reese Hoskins.
I would trade Reese Hoskins Reese Hoskins. I would throw him to New York in a heartbeat for Jacob Degrom. Yes.
Well, the Yankees aren't going to do that. They have a lot of young players that they like and that have worked out, and they're not going to do that. And I like the new Yankees. We'll be fine, Donnie. Don't worry about that. Well, just worry about your team not going to the playoffs. All right, uh, Donnie. Ryder Cup gets going today. Who's going to
Too
win
early.
the Ryder? Who's
U.S.
going
Let's
to
go.
win
The
the?
U.S. is stacked in this U.S. Jeff. I want to see the pairings that come out. I don't know if they've been out or been released already. Usually they hold them close to the vest because some sort of competitive advantage if you release it too early, which I always think is fantastic theater there. But 2:30 a.m. in the morning in the middle of Paris, France, or wherever they're playing this golf tournament in France here. It should be fun to watch. I just wish it wasn't on so early. Like I want to watch it all, Jeff. Friday. There's a couple football games on Friday. I get that, but dude, put the Ryder Cup on in the middle of the day
Yeah,
so at least
Donnie.
we can
Listen,
enjoy some of it.
I'm trying to explain this to you. They can't. There's two different sessions. They have to do it where
But
it
there shouldn't be
benefits,
2 different sessions on there. You can get them going back to back fairly easily there. I
and
mean,
it's
it's
five
there's like
hours.
12 golf on the side. You can fit this in. How do they have a whole session in golf with 150 golfers go in one round? You can fit 24 or not even 24. I think there's only 10 go at a time.
Listen, I don't know, but it's 5 hours away. That's why 5 hours ahead. So they have to, make it where it makes sense to them. If they put it on the West Coast, it doesn't make sense to people that in England or whoever. So I just they have to do it then. But one thing Jim Furyk says is that a Tiger Woods Mickelson cup pairing is doubt. So
That would've been
it
fun.
won't be
Yeah, it
easy.
would've been fun. Put the 2 old guys out there to try to teach some of these young dudes a lesson out there. But no, I don't think that should be a pairing there. There's better matchups in handling that you can actually do that. But it should be fun to see what they are because the Ryder Cup's one of the best theater in sports when it comes to golf. Usually golf is boring. Now the crowds get into it and it's, home team versus road team, which you don't see in golf, which is great.
Seattle Hockey Partners are looking to make a formal pitch for a team up in Seattle, and they should. I mean, it's a climate where they should have one. You got Vancouver not too far away. Could develop maybe a decent rivalry there. There probably should be a hockey team up in the the Pacific Northwest. I actually like this idea, and hopefully they get one.
Yeah, it is an interesting one because Seattle, known for their being, I guess, cheap, city council or whatever. How they lost the Seattle Sonics is absolutely baffling to me. You have billionaire corporations up there that are fighting with city councils over like 100 or 200 million dollars that they can stroke a check for, that can fall out of their couch and make it happen. But now all of a sudden we want to redo Key Arena, Jeff, with 500 or 600 million dollars in upgrades, but you didn't want to do it when you wanted to keep your Seattle Sonics up there. So now you're going to get a hockey team. What are you going to expect to get a basketball team back? Just really poor leadership there in that city that allowed the Sonics. And Jeff, the Sonics didn't even leave for like New York City or Brooklyn or Chicago or whoever. They left for They left your city for Oklahoma City, a tiny Dust Bowl town in the Midwest. Do I think they should get another team? Yeah, if they pony up. But come on, man. You don't even support your. I mean, outside of the Seattle Seahawks, which get great support because they're a good football team or have a good track record over the past decade or so, you can't draw flies at Mariners games. I mean, there's like 3 people in the crowd.
Seattle Sounders. They
Yeah,
have those.
exactly. Who are they?
They get decent. They get decent people there, but yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Oklahoma City and Seattle, I believe, are comparable population wise. I don't
Not even
think as
close.
far as
No, it's not even close.
well, they are.
Oklahoma
They're about
City's
sixty
tiny,
thousand
tiny
different.
town. What's
They're
that?
about 60,000 people different. Not a ton.
From
They're
Seattle to
comparable.
Oklahoma City? You sure about that?
Yes. 704 to 638. So about 60K. Seattle's fairly bigger, but you're right. I mean, it's not a great place to go take a team, but from what I've heard, and this is just reading stuff on Oklahoma City, I mean, they love this team there. They're very, they're one of the better attendance teams in the league. But yeah, I mean, it sucks not seeing the Sonics anymore, but maybe they'll get a hockey team. What do you think their name would be? Seattle. What do you think their name would be?
Well, yeah, make them the Sonics. Why not just make them the Sonics, Jeff? Just to get back at the basketball guys that lost their team. Wouldn't that be nice to have your hockey team called the Sonics? I would love that. Same type uniform, that green. I'm in.
Seattle Bass. What do you think the name should be? Let's hear some
I
good
don't
names.
know. The Needles up
Um,
there, like what? The Space Needle up there, Seattle Needles, the futuristic Space Needles.
the Rain.
That's not bad.
Rains a lot.
Would you spell? Yeah, but would you get corny and spell it REIGN, or would
Eh,
you actually spell it
no.
RAIN?
Seattle Rain sounds like a band. I don't know about that.
Sounds like a WNBA team.
Yeah, yeah. Seattle Rain does sound like a WNBA. What do they have up there? The Storm. They have them already. Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm. The Seahawks and
Mariners.
Sounders. Uh, Mariners. Yeah, yeah.
Sounders isn't a bad
I
one
don't.
for a basketball team though, or excuse me, a soccer team.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sonics. That's a decent name, I guess. Um, let's uh let's keep it moving here, Donnie, and get into some Thursday night football talk and kind of get into the football part of the show. We start out with Thursday night football, Vikings and Rams. Now, Donnie, you at the beginning of the show said there may be some statistical evidence to back up your theory on Thursday night teams. I'm going to try to look for some. Rams 7, total 49. What do you like here?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, will I have a wager in the game? No, because it's sitting at 7. But it has a lot of similarities to last week, where most people got caught up in that trap line last week with the Chargers and like the Chargers. And I was the one saying, look, watch out for the Rams. I mean, they don't care about point spreads. They have the ultimate play caller, quarterback, and offense right now. And they blew the Chargers directly off of that football field. Now, getting into this game here, you have Minnesota, right? Got embarrassed on Sunday. No practice, heading out on the road to play one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Now, granted, they're going to be down 2 cornerbacks in this football game, but that's not where it's really going to be decided whether their cornerbacks are playing or not. It's the Rams offense doing whatever they want to whatever defense they want, moving up and down the field. That's the problem you're going to have. And there is a reason why that line is 7 when we thought this might be a preview of the NFC Championship game. And even with 2 cornerbacks out, for the Los Angeles Rams in this game. They're the much, much better team right now. They right now are the top dog in the NFC, and until somebody knocks them off or slows them down, I want no piece of going against Sean McVay and Jared Goff right now. The Minnesota Vikings have a really good defense, don't get me wrong, but this Rams team is just set up for something historic, it looks like, for offense.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the week when we talked about this game, I like the Rams. I still like them at this number. I don't like it as much because you got to win by double digits instead of 7. If it was 6.5, I'd definitely key it in a lot more. I like them at home. I think there's a lot going on with Minnesota right now. You'd obviously expect them to bounce back after last week's pathetic performance, but Donnie, I'm looking at this offense and I'm not overly impressed right now with them. They don't have much of a run game. They've been without Dalvin Cook. The passing game's been okay, I guess, but you're only averaging about 20 points a game. They need to get better. I haven't seen enough out of them. They're not good on the road either. And as good as Zimmer's been, they're 7-10 in the last 17 road games, so they're not very good on the road. They've only won 8 of those games straight up. So I'm leaning Rams myself here. I think they find a way to get the job done. If I feel like it could be a push though, a 31-24 or something like that. I'm hoping for like a 31-21 type of game, or they kind of jump out. But you'd expect a team like Minnesota to bounce back, but this team, they just haven't looked that good offensively. Other than that Packer game, they didn't look good last week. They had trouble moving the ball.
Yeah, and if you
Um,
remember, Jeff, in that Packer game, I mean, what did it take? That late bomb to Stephon Diggs to get back into it? Because I believe they only had like 7 points heading into the fourth quarter. So it's not like we're moving up and down the field. And, even the San Francisco 49ers game, that wasn't a great game for them either on offense. And then it was an atrocity versus the Buffalo Bills. So you have some good points there, make valid, saying, well, at the beginning of the year, we had Kirk Cousins, oh my God, what an upgrade, and Dalvin Cook and Latavius Murray and 2 good wideouts. That hasn't translated at all yet.
No. And the Rams are obviously very good on offense, and you're gonna have to score some points to stay with this group. Um, Minnesota's defense is gonna have to step up here. And you look at them, they haven't been great either. You look at the last 2 games, you've given up 29 points and 27 points. You gave 412 passing yards up against Green Bay. You gave 278 up against Josh Allen. Or I'm sorry, 253 up against Green Bay. They had 412 yards, the Packers. So they move the ball a little, but they haven't translated into points in a lot of these games. I lean with the Rams here, but I'd much rather get 6.5.
It would be nice if you had your 2 starting quarterbacks, but again, I really don't even think it comes down to that. Just like Sean McVay, what he has going on where, it almost has the feel of like what Kansas City is doing. Like no matter what they dial up, Jeff, it's just working out there and everybody has confidence. And a dome team going outdoors. And again, most of the time, like you look at some of these Thursday night games where you have like a short trip, right? Maybe going an hour or two on a plane flight. You're going to jump out from Minnesota and fly all the way to the West Coast. And then you're going to play this football game. And we'll see if Dalvin Cook's world's longest cramp in his hamstring actually clears up by game time here to see if he can even give it a go. Boy, those cramps will get you every time, Jeff. A few weeks at a time.
Yeah, you're right about that. You look at Peters; he's doubtful, and Talib is obviously out as well. So you mentioned that that'll hurt, but someone's got to step up, Donnie, as they say. Uh,
Hmm.
the backups for the Rams, I got to check that out. Let me see here. What do we got on the backup here? You got Donnie on in the secondary. Sam Shields, who is somewhat veteran.
Yeah,
he
he's
can come in
average.
and play
Hmm.
for you.
Yeah.
And then Nicole Roby Coleman, whoever that is your other corner. John Johnson and Lamarcus Joyner are safe. So, and Blake Calnis, Michigan player, not bad. I guess you have some depth there. So we'll see how that goes. But I like the Rams at home. That's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
looking here.
Yeah,
Rams are so
it's just one of
public.
those games where I don't think I'm going to participate because it is 7, and you still have to win by double digits. But good luck taking the road team, man. Again, just donate to charity. If you're taking road teams on with no practice during the week and heading out on a flight west, you're just going to get bounced daily on that one. So good luck if you're going to sit there and take the Minnesota Vikings tonight.
Rams are so publicly backed. I don't know how you can take them. Well, but the line's moving the way it should. This line hasn't went down all week. That's just because the team is publicly backed doesn't mean that you don't take them. If the line makes sense, it makes sense. It's all about the line here. And this line has went up, Donnie. You have public. Public action hasn't really come in, I don't think yet. It probably obviously going to come in today, but you would hope, Donnie, and think that this line's not going to go anywhere. It's going to just stick at 7. It's a good side for books. You're going to get equal
Yeah,
action.
I think
So,
you're right on that. I think
you
you're
know,
right on that. Yeah, it's look, look, it's funny how this game got downgraded a little bit because when you looked at it a couple weeks ago, like, man, I can't wait to get to this Thursday night football game. Now everybody's dinged up with injuries. The Vikings got nuked, and who knows what the Rams are going to pull out of their pocket tonight with McVay and Goff. So maybe this isn't really a preview of anything. Maybe it's the sign that the Vikings are going home for the playoffs already at this point.
and you look at how bettors think. Well, most bettors in the NFL are going to look at this game and say, Vikings just lost last week to the Bills. I mean, they're good. I mean, the Rams are good, but this seems like a 3-point game either way, right? I mean, that's what most people are going to think. Yeah, the Vikings are going to play well in this game. Thursday night, they're up for it. It's on the road. It's on the road, and it's a tough game, and it's a good team. The other team needs to play well too, and the Vikings are good, but they're not playing particularly well right now. I think a lot of people will get on the Vikings. Maybe I think 7's the number, though. They'll get equal action on both sides, and everyone will be happy. But
It's about 50-50 right now too. Yeah,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
about 50-50 action already.
yeah. I think that's where the number will stay. I don't think you'll see it move off here. Let's go to a little college action, Donnie. Miami hosting North Carolina. Miami 17.5, 56.5 on a total. This is a 103, 104. And the big news for UNC, Donnie, is a lot of players coming back. You look at this injury list. Probable everywhere you go. You got a receiver coming back. You got a quarterback coming back. You had all sorts of O linemen and defensive players coming back. This is big for these guys. I mean, you get these kids back. Depth is back. You don't have to use your depth chart and go so deep into it like you had to. And you're coming off a nice win against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, you talk about a team, Donnie, that's been disappointing over the last couple of years. Pittsburgh. I thought when Pat Narduzzi went there, I thought they'd be a hard-nosed defensive team with a solid running game. They haven't. I mean, they've been a decent running team, but what a frustrating team they've been. And UNC beat them over the weekend. A nice win there. Miami dealing with some injuries as well. No Amon Richards for them, which hurts, especially for a quarterback in N'Kosi Perry who's trying to make a name for himself. It's now, I guess, his job to lose, right, Donnie? I mean, N'Kosi Perry is going to be the guy in there. And we know this defense is really good, but this is a bit of a step up in class, especially with all the players coming back. When I first looked at this line, I thought it was too many points. I think UNC can hang around. I thought Nathan Elliott looked good last week, the new quarterback for UNC. I think it's his job now. When you're a guy like Chaz Surratt and you make mistakes, you're gonna have to deal with what happens after the fact. And I think UNC's playing at a pretty good time here. Miami's tough though. They play great defense. Haven't really been tested. They played Toledo, gave up 24 points, and then lost to LSU. The other two games were easy wins. But last week they struggled a little bit as well. What do you think here? Miami's your team. What do you think about them?
Yeah, I mean, they're being really coy about who the quarterback's going to be when it should be N'Kosi Perry. But we all like the backup quarterback. We all like the young quarterback. I mean, hell, we had Robert Marv. Oh, it's going to be exciting. Yeah, he stunk. Ja'Cory Harris, he's going to be really exciting when he gets in there. Yeah, he stunk as well. Kyle Wright, number one recruit in the country about 10, 15 years ago. Kyle Wright to Miami. Oh, my God, it's going to be amazing. No, it's really not. So you have to
And then the
step
one
in, but go ahead.
and then the one quarterback you did have left early, Brad Kaya, who would have been nice if he would have
Yeah, who
stayed
was
another year.
super average at best anyway, even if he stayed. I mean, I never thought Brad Kyle was anything special either. But
Really?
at least
Nice,
N'Kosi
nice.
Perry in college football, you have to have a quarterback that can move around. You can't be a slug. Like I was faster than Brad Kaya back there. At least N'Kosi Perry, if something breaks down, he can make some plays with his legs, which has been too and few far between. Because even Ja'Cory Harris was slow out there on the football field. You need a guy that can extend the pocket. It looks like they finally have it, but for some reason, Malik Rozier is very, very good in the film room, but not on the football field. But I think the writing is on the wall that the young kid's going to start getting some playing time and eventually take over the start. Look good last week. Was it great competition? No. But the kid has way more talent than Malik Rozier does and a lot more talent than a lot of these quarterbacks that have been rolling through here the past couple of years for Miami.
Yeah, it's a tough game because you don't know what kind of a player you're going to get back from these kids, but it's going to help your team. You get a lot of kids back. You don't have to go so far deep into the depth chart. Like I said, at 17 and a half, it's not a play I'm going to be giddy about, but I'm liking the dog a bit here.
Yeah, no, it
Joey,
does look like too many points in this one. I mean, is Miami the better football team? Sure, they are, but you're right about that. And again, like, well, Donnie, what about Thursday night road team in college football? Well, most times in the NFL, you're not getting almost 3 touchdowns, so it's a little bit different of a type of advantage of who's actually supposed. Miami's supposed to win the football game. They're 3 touchdown favorites in this one. But will I be betting it? Probably not. Just going to sit back, watch it, root on my Canes. But that's about it. I usually don't get involved in point spreads, something around this range with a ACC game.
I can't recall Miami ever having a dual threat quarterback. Ja'Cory Harris was a dual
Exactly.
threat.
Yeah, Ja'Cory Harris was
Um,
dual threat except could run.
I found this in an article from 2013. Since 2005, well, 2013, 5 years ago. But he's mentioning home teams have a 68% win percentage. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see what the number is now. I'm sure it's benefiting
It's
the home
hard.
team.
Like it's like again, the NFL. I can't believe the NFL even allows. They're all about fairness, right? If you stink, you get the top pick in the draft, right, Jeff? If you stink as a team the year before, they give you supposedly a softer schedule. But the fact that the NFL just allows this mockery of a Thursday night game and say how good a game it's going to be and puts that road team at such a severe disadvantage. It's just it's an atrocity, Jeff, that they allow it go on. Double up on Monday Night Football and take the Thursday night game out. Everybody will approve and cheer that.
Agreed. Whatever happened to the turnover chain? Well, it was a one.
It's
You know,
beautiful. Oh, that thing is beautiful this year. Did you see the new one they have?
no, I have not.
100,000 or what is it, like 100 grand it cost them to make the new one? It's beautiful, man.
Instead of doing that, why don't you give everybody $2,000? That might
Yeah,
be a
they
better
already get
idea,
that in the
right?
stipend. Yeah, they already get the stipend of at least 2 grand a month, so they're good.
Imagine, imagine all the money you would have won this year if you took the Mets team total ever every single time Duram was on the bump. Yeah, you would have made a lot of money, but you would have probably had to lay some big prices on that, though. But yeah, I mean, you definitely would have.
I wish we had the
Let's.
almanac, Jeff. If we had the bettor's almanac of what happened in the past, we would be geniuses, or what happens in the future, I should say, right?
Oh yeah. Let's get into some MLB. We haven't talked a lot of MLB, but it's the final weekend of Major League Baseball, and there's some tight races going on out there. Obviously, Oakland won last night. Oakland gets a little closer to the Yankees because the Yankees didn't win last night, and now the Yankees have to severely consider maybe the possibility that they are going to go to Oakland to play in the wild card game. And you look at that spot. Who's more who's more likely to win that? It's going to be one of those bullpen games, crazy bullpen games, which we'll talk about next week. Phillies have lost 15. They're 15 and 32 in the last 47 games. They lose again last night to get absolutely crushed. Game Kapler says there's no man in the room that hasn't quit. That's complete bullshit. They've quit. It's clear and evident. Um, Gabe Kapler got a lot of shit early in the season. Middle of the season, they played well, so it tailed off. But he's got to get some sort of blame for this. I mean, this team isn't good from a offensive perspective, but what has happened to the Phillies? I mean, they just fell apart, um, and now
Yeah, and I
way
guess
out.
a lot of it's organizational. I know they're trying to make a changeover to get more analytical, but we've always talked about this in the city of Philadelphia, where you have a minor league system that's just atrocious with coaching because you have other organizations that constantly bring up young players and young talent that seem to be able to perform as soon as they get to the major league level. But the Philadelphia Phillies are that side note there. I don't know what they teach. They have some of the dumbest baseball players on the planet repeatedly come out. You don't have any teaching at the major league level. I don't know who their hitting coach is. And again, if you're a Major League Baseball player, it's ingrained in your mind, like I got here with my swing and just leave me alone. I'm not making any adjustments out here. So that's been the Philadelphia Phillies' MO for quite a long time, that they have zero coaching from the time they get an instructional ball all the way up to the major leagues. It's just the way it is. And you say
If
like the team quit on them. I don't even know if they quit. I just don't think they have zero. One through, like outside of Reese Hoskins, who hits like 240 anyway, they're the most I don't even know the words to say. Like when you go up to the plate, in a football game or anything, like you have a game plan. This guy's throwing hard. He's throwing first pitch strikes. Let me swing. If you're Reese Hoskins, the point of them throwing a 91-mile-an-hour meatball right down the middle every single time, because they know you won't swing at the first pitch. So it's good coaching to be 0-1 every single at bat that you start out. Love it. Take as many pitches as you want, Phillies, because whether you strike out on the fourth pitch or the sixth pitch, you still struck out.
Sorry, Donnie, I had a little coffee go down the wrong chute this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, got me. But yeah, I mean, as far as the Phillies are concerned, you have to do whatever you can to go get Manny Machado. This guy is a tremendous player. You and I both know it. Get this guy in here. Build your team around him. Continue with Nola, who's pitched well. Give some okay young pitchers, um, and go from there. I'm all over it. Manny Machado's got to be the goal. Got to be. Got to go get him.
Yeah, they'll get one of those 2. They'll have either maybe even both, but they'll have either one of Machado or, Bryce Harper for next year. We'll see if it actually helps them out. So it looks like Big Man dropped off the mic here. No Comcast or Xfinity knocking the Big Man around. So we'll continue down that race. But yeah, the Phillies crash landing. I mean, look, it's kind of embarrassing the way the Philadelphia Phillies headed up down the stretch, worst record in baseball since August 15th. But that's actually good because if you're not going to get in the playoffs, you're not going to win anything, right? Why not just go down that rabbit hole and get a better draft pick and embarrass yourself in front of your fan base? And the only way, like, you embarrass yourself in front of your girlfriend or your wife. What do you have to do? You got to pay up. You got to buy her something. You got to take her on a trip. You got to get her new countertops. You got to get her new windows in her house there. Same thing with the Phillies. Hey, Phillies fans, we're sorry about that. We're going to lay out $800 million.
Yeah, it's Machado. Don't worry about Bryce Harper. Go out and give Bryce Harper or Manny Machado 800 million. Just get him in here. That's all you need. You don't worry about Bryce Harper. Just worry about Machado. Let's get him, and then let's build around him. Rockies Dodgers, Donnie, NL West race. It's a good race as well. Dodgers couldn't win last night, so this one's going to head into the weekend.
Mhm.
Good for the Rockies. Always a pretty good team from a bat perspective. The pitching hasn't always been very good, and you look at this rotation. There's not a lot to really like around this Rocky. There's no complete star, maybe other than Freeland's terrific, but outside of him, there's not a lot of here. Bullpen has faltered at times, but they have a good lineup. You gotta think though it's going to be the Dodgers. It's got to be the Dodgers, right?
Yeah, I mean, one would think. I mean, talent-wise, up and down the roster, it would be them. So I usually like to root for the underdog. I was hoping maybe the Colorado Rockies would steal, but hey, no better team to try to get after it with than the Philadelphia Phillies. So whoever they line up against, but it should be interesting as it comes down the line. I know we talked about like the Oakland Yankees want that home game there. You're trying to get over Oakland because it is a big advantage, right? It's not so much, the crowd is loud, but would you rather play in Oakland 3,000 miles away, or would you rather be at home in the Bronx in front of your own fans? I mean, that's a pretty big difference. So the Yankees need to hold on to that one. But I like the baseball playoffs. It's a completely different game played than the regular season. Every single game matters. You're going to be using your bullpen left and right. Nobody's resting. Starting pitchers get pulled out after 2 1/3 inning, where that's not going to happen in July if they're struggling. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be an interesting run there, and some really good baseball teams in it.
Hey Donnie, on July 3rd, you know
Mhm.
what I did? I bet the Brew Crew to win the World Series. And they're only a half game back, buddy, in the NL Central. I'd have loved to have seen the Cubs lose last night, but that Brewer team, Donnie, they're pretty dangerous. We talked about them early in the season. They made all those moves, go out and get Kane, go out and get Yelich. Good. That's a good baseball team, Donnie. With that bullpen, bring in Moustakas as well. You have all sorts of big bats, Aguilar and all those different pit players. They don't have a ton of pitching either. But guys like Junior
They got
Guerra
a
and
bullpen.
Chase
Yeah.
Anderson and yeah, you got a great bullpen. Wade, Jeffries and Josh Hader and all those guys. Uh, Good baseball team. And then they go out and get Gio Gonzalez. Nice move.
No, I like what they're doing out there. I really do. I mean, it's a smaller market team. When they see that window to push all in, they go after it. Stole Christian Yelich from the Miami Marlins. Imagine the Marlins just stayed pat and just kept all their good players of what they could have done in this wretched Jeff NL East. Maybe they actually could have even made the playoffs, but that's for here another day. But I like the Brewers. I've rooted for them all year long. One of those rosters, Jeff, throughout the summer that it almost didn't matter. Like you wait for the roster, see, let me see who's in and out. No matter who they matched together in that 1 through 8, it was a really good lineup. And whenever you can lean on a bullpen, heavy strikeout, power arm bullpen, it's always a nice bet there.
One thing on the Phillies, though, you look at this team. You have a young team, you have an okay pitching staff, but you always had to worry about the Nationals. The Nationals are always way better than everyone else. But it's like this year, the Nationals aren't any good. And it's like the Phillies are nowhere to be found. It's like this is going to be the year, probably, right? I mean, it's just I don't know. Now they're 11 games back. Amazing. Nationals actually have a better record.
Yeah, no, under
30.
5, right? I mean, isn't that the whole point? Like, is Severino going to be able to pitch a decent game, or who's going to line up? But from a competitive standpoint,
I
you
think
don't
it's Happ.
have, let's just say, Like, you don't have John Lester like they had a couple years ago. Like, oh, game one, they got a good pitcher. Like, you don't have that dominant arm for the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, if I'm the Yankees, I would go Hap. Start out with him and see how it goes, and I would leave maybe someone in the back end in case the game goes to extra innings. But yeah, you got to throw it all out, Donnie, for this game. We'll see how it goes. College football, we get into that couple weekend matchups that we're taking a look at. Can you talk Buffalo Army? Well, I mean that wasn't on the schedule, Donnie, but what do
Mhm.
I think about
Yeah,
Army
sure.
Buffalo? Look, I think getting the points there is a smart idea. I mean, you look at the last two matchups between these two groups; they've been very close. I mean, Buffalo has shown that they're a good football team. They've went on the road and won some games that maybe we thought be a bit closer. But at the end of the day, they haven't beaten up anyone other than Rutgers. I mean, Donnie, anyone could beat up Rutgers. I'm really looking at the other game. The Temple. You win by 7, beat Eastern Michigan by 7. There hasn't been against top tier competition. I don't know if this team's ready to blow out top tier comp. And you look at Army. I mean, you held down a real good Liberty offense. You held down a good Hawaii offense and beat them. And then you go on the road at Oklahoma and you don't necessarily even play that well, but you only lose by 7. I mean, the early
No,
time's
yeah.
not going to bother Army. Defensively, they're always very solid and they hold on to the ball. If you're down 6 against Army and you're laying 7 points, it's hard. I mean, they're going to sit on the ball. It's all about possession for them. They're disciplined. If I'm getting over a touchdown, I go Army. I mean, that's just my kind of train of thought.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you there because I know there'd be some people that would say like, well, they had their heart broken in Norman, Oklahoma last week. I mean, Army's a little bit different type of football program and a little bit different wired athlete than most of these kids. And you're right, you're looking at the game. Oh, now you got to come fly all the way back, and then you got to play Buffalo. It's going to be an early start, and maybe you're not that excited because instead of playing in front of 75,000 or 80,000 fans in Norman, Oklahoma, you're going to play in front of 3,000 fans at Buffalo at this point. And Buffalo is a pretty good football team. There's something to be said about that. But the one thing that you like if you're backing Army, Jeff, is they're not really going to be interested in kicking field goals at this point, and they're going to extend the game. So 4 downs. When they get in 4th and 1 at the 50, Jeff, they're not punting the football. When they get a 4th and 1 at the 1 yard line, they're not kicking a field goal. They're going for it. Very analytical approach up there by the Army cadets. And you're right. When you look at the game, isn't it key when you sit on some certain numbers, 7 or 7.5? You saw Army battle it with Hawaii, a high octane offense. Were they able to slow the game down and get something into themselves? Because if you look at a football game with winning one score in the fourth quarter, you're probably going to give the advantage to Army because if they have the football, Jeff, let's just say 28-21 in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes to go and Army has the ball, really good chance you won that football game because they're not super fast down the field. And even if they don't convert it into a touchdown, they're not going to kick a field goal. And then Buffalo's just going to run the remaining time out on the clock. Reduced possessions is always nice to get more than a touchdown. And who says Army can't just even go in and win this game outright?
Good point. Johnson down possibly for Buffalo. He's a big time player, Donnie, for that offense. He's an NFL caliber
You
receiver.
got to add out. You're right. You need to out athlete Army, which he would be a great job to do. But when we take a look at the quarterback for Buffalo, I always say Cam Newton-esque, and he looks great. And you saw the play last week to Johnson where he rolls out of the pocket, lights it up like 50 yards down the field, gets him down to the 1 yard line. He can make a lot of plays like that, which is going to be stressful versus Army. But I think there was a pretty fast, super athletic quarterback they played on the road in a tough environment last week, and did fairly well against them.
Oh yeah, they did real well against them.
Mhm.
They held Kyler Murray in check for the most part. Uh, so yeah, I would probably look towards Army there. Big man, you are a legend. That's kind of you, but I'm not a legend. People that fight in wars and you know do brain surgery and help the poor and they're legends,
And
not
rap.
me.
People
Uh,
that are good at rapping, yes, correct.
yeah, I mean Big L's a legend, not me. Mac Miller's a legend. I'm just a overweight Albanian guy that tries to pick games. Um, I'm no legend riser. Donnie's a legend. I'm not. But thank you.
We're
You're too
legends in our
kind.
own mind. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, my man. I appreciate
But
it.
you're right. I think in my own head I'm a total legend, and I should be regarded as one of the best to ever do it. You're right. Vitalis, hey, big man, and you look at the score in the Liberty New Mexico game. I'm showing it's too high. Can I get your thoughts on that? So you think the number's too high? That's interesting. I don't. I think we could see some action in that game, Donnie, because you look at what both teams want to do. I don't have any confidence that Liberty can stop the run, and New Mexico's just going to run that Bob Davy run offense all game, and they're going to chew people up, and they're going to score points. And now they have kind of a dynamic quarterback, and he can throw the football a little bit. North or Liberty with Calvert. I mean, they're going to just throw the football around. I, Donnie, that's when you and I talked about it. I mean, that looks to be kind of a game that should have
Yeah, they
should
hung it.
major
They hung
action.
it on Old Dominion with 52 points, and then you see the downtrodden, areas. North Texas is a really good team, and they gave up 47. You would have thought they would have scored more than 7 points because that game got a little bit wacky. But North Texas has shown the propensity to play actually some really good defense along with offense. So sometimes you want to slide those away. And again, we're talking about Army, a 38-14 loss. You don't have the football for all that much in that game. And of course, you're going to get some yards. But when you take a look, Jeff, from New Mexico, this isn't really, we always use this term like your father's New Mexico program that's just going to be like run, 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 run. I mean, when you look at the numbers of their passing offense, now look, they did play Incarnate Word, but they still threw for 361. You played at Wisconsin, you threw for 134. Of course, these lower level teams are going to get bounced around when you're going to play in Camp Randall and Wisconsin's defense. But then you come back against New Mexico State, 198 on the ground, 127. They can throw the football a little bit more. And you're right. They're getting an injured quarterback who's their starter back. Read the quotes from Bob Davie this weekend, said he's going to have to earn his job back. Looked a little bit rusty in Monday's practice, and the kid's saying all the right things. I'm a team player. It doesn't matter if I start or not. He's probably going to start this football game. But you would think a little bit lower level of defensive competition for Liberty. They're going to throw it all over the place. They should be able to score. But you're right. Those big – how many big plays have we seen Owens have in the past couple of years, Jeff? Just running it up the middle, fullback, 40, 50-yard runs. I mean, they were – I think it was – who was the young little scat back? Tyrion Gibson, I believe his name was a couple years
Yes.
ago. Kid was electric. They are a home run hitting running team. Not to, when you look at Army, Jeff, you say, look, they ain't trying to hit the home run. They're trying to get 4 yards. New Mexico is trying to hit the home run when they run each time. So I think there'll be a little bit more point scoring in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this New Mexico team gave up 30 points to the Cardinals of Incarnate Word. So, I mean, that's a bit concerning against a team in Liberty who is kind of on their level as far as offensively. So I think we see a game in the 30s here. I would look more or less that it goes over than under. But
And also
it
in this
might be
game
right on the
too,
money.
Jeff, one little thing. Like if you already have a banged up defense, you lost your best defender a week and a half ago with a torn ACL, which was Alex Hart, the middle linebacker. They're saying all the right things, like, yeah, we got guys that can step up and do this. But when you're a bad defense already and you lose the one single guy, I always like to point out, Jeff, like if San Jose State lost like Frank Ginda, like the single only player on the defense that could even do anything, it's sort of like that domino effect out there.
Sure. Big Ben, I couldn't make it to Vegas to see you, but I'm 30 minutes away from Chicago. Are you ever coming to the city for a meet and greet or visit? Um, Yeah, someone else asked me about Chicago. Obviously, we do a show out there now. We're hitting that area. Yeah, I'm sure at some point I'll come out to Chicago. Um, yeah, maybe. I'm actually going to try to Donnie this year. Even though it's busy, try to make a few trips to some different basketball stadiums to watch some hoop. So maybe I'll find a way to get out there. Maybe we'll do something down the road. Sure. And look, I'm very open on what I'm doing, so we'll definitely make you aware of whatever I do. Donnie, USC Arizona, interesting game here. JT Daniels had a nice game last week. Real shootout in that game against Wazoo. You have to figure he's going to have some success here against Arizona. Arizona's had. I mean, when was the last time this defense was good? I mean, Arizona. I mean, they're never good. They can't get stops. It's just what they do. I thought offensively they turned it up though last week. Arizona, they finally started to run the ball a little bit. Had 442 yards against Oregon State, and won that game going away. This total still looks somewhat low to me. I mean, I think USC should have no trouble moving the ball in this game, and I think Arizona could probably get it going as well. USC always struggles generally against the run.
No, you're right. And if you look at some of the stats out there, 5 yards per rush, USC defense is giving up. Not the best look when you're going to face Arizona with a wildly athletic quarterback who can get out of the pocket. But we always wanted to tag this section as like upset alert in college football. Going into this football game, most people know USC, Arizona, maybe that sneaky underdog at home on turf, going to be tough to bring the kid down at quarterback. Do we have a lapse? You saw a shootout last week versus Washington State. Do they take a deep breath and get beat up down there in Tucson? That's the interesting part that you want to take a look at. Is USC good enough, Jeff, to go on the road and win this football game by, look, if you're laying 3.5, probably going to have to win by a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a big game for Arizona. I mean, it's obviously a game for you to kind of, your first few games haven't went particularly good. I mean, you're 2-2 though. I mean, you're on your way. You start your season kind of against a good team here. You're at home. Maybe you put in an effort. 61 seems still a bit low. I would have put it like 65. I'm probably looking over in this game.
Hmm.
Uh, what else do we have here, Donnie? Toledo, Fresno State. You bet on Toledo last week to score a lot of points. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not so sure I like a lot of it, but just you see the line movement moving down. We all know Toledo, moving on from Woodside last year and now moving on to a new quarterback, Wadani. He's actually a pretty good athletic kid, Jeff. When the pocket breaks down, last year, Logan Woodside's not running for a first down, but this kid can actually throw and pass and still have a lot of those capable receivers that were in the system last year and a couple really, really nice running backs. How about a couple years ago, Jeff? I mean, the Kareem Hunts of the world. I mean, Toledo has had some talent as a MAC football team, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. But I just went like Marcus McMaryion and the boys. They're a better overall team last week than you saw out of Nevada, even though it's the same type of conference play and athletes that you're going to get. Do we have an upset alert chance, Jeff? Can Toledo go on the road and say, look, we played Miami. Yeah, we got busted up against them, but we went and got up against Nevada and torched that defense. Can they do the same? And that line dropping from a double-digit favorite to under double digits now.
Yeah, Toledo's a dangerous team. Mitch Guadani is a good quarterback. Yeah, his guys come in and he could put up some big numbers for that
Yeah.
Toledo team. They always move the ball around. He was a big time player in Ohio, and he's done some great things so far at Toledo. And they have put up some good talent over the years, haven't they? Nice work by that group. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of points here. Maybe they can hang within double digits and maybe turn into a shootout. That's kind of think what they want to do. They could score some points for sure. But game I haven't looked into a ton. FAU MTSU, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
This one looks like a high scoring game. We know Brent Stockstill will never put the game, ball down. He's always going to toss it around. FAU, we know they're very high powered offensively. I'm kind of looking at total in this game to keep my eye on.
Yeah, maybe sneaky for Middle Tennessee State. Little upset alert action, Jeff. 63% of the early wagers coming in on Florida Atlantic in this game. The lane train going on the road. We all know about the lane train, right? Singletary, one of the best running backs in the country, going to put them on turf. They're going to score points. And then most people look on the opposite side and say, wait a second, I don't think I've even ever heard of Middle Tennessee State or what they even have to offer. Well, they have that dad-son combo. The Stockstills, one head football coach, one a senior quarterback, a lefty. We talked about the other day, Jeff. We don't see many lefty quarterbacks. This is a really good lefty quarterback. The one thing that's going to be interesting to see how this plays is Middle Tennessee State can play a little bit of defense, but is Middle Tennessee State outside of Ty Lee, Jeff, explosive enough to get after FAU? Because we know FAU is going to run fast. They have more talented athletes. They have the best running back in that conference by far, and they should be able to move up and down the field. But you see that three and a half sitting out there. Can MTSU pull out this upset win over a much more talented FAU squad?
Yeah, you just hope that they can move the ball a little bit because they faced Vandy and Georgia and had no success. But there's no surprise there because they're SEC teams and they're good teams. Stockstill's a good player. You just hope he could put some points on the board. FAU, look, they've had some trouble. I mean, they gave up a ton of points to UCF, 306 passing yards, gave a 334 to Oklahoma. This is another good passing attack. You would think they could put some points up here. Listen, I don't like FAU. I told you that. I don't see it with them. They're
How
going to
about the
beat up
line
on bad
drop, though,
opponents.
Jeff? Like,
Yeah.
like look at the open at 68 at Pinnacle and Chris, and you're sitting at 62 at some outlets right now. Like, what would be the reason for? Is that because the same thing as you? I like to read into things. I like to watch film. I like to see how fast they go. Like you had the perfect storm last week, right? With UCF. UCF's going to go really fast and is really talented, and FAU is going to try to match the tempo, and they just have a crazy play caller, and they like to go up tempo as well. But Stock's still in the pocket. He's a really good quarterback, but is their game plan going to be, because obviously, I don't know, if somebody leaks something out or knows something that the public doesn't know, that they're going to say, we're going to slow it down and run the football and see what they can really do, FAU? Because that's a 6-point drop with two teams
My,
theoretically you think would score some points.
my guess is that Middle
No weather
Tennessee. I guess they.
concerns.
Well, I think maybe Middle Tennessee is just better. They think defensively, and maybe they can stay in the game by playing better defense and kind of slowing
Mhm.
it down and running? I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, not for nothing, Donnie. I mean, as far as average drive time, Middle Tennessee 2.37 minutes. I mean, not very fast. I mean, definitely bogged down. They throw it a lot, but they seem to have long drives.
Yeah,
Florida
which could
Atlantic,
be a product of some
they're
of the
pretty slow
competition that
also.
they did go up against. So, I mean, there was a little bit of tea leaves you can read through, but just looking at them, they were a little bit more explosive in the past on offense. Not to say they can't move the ball and score points, but when you had to hit some of these overs in those mid 60s range, isn't it nice to get 2 touchdowns in 42 seconds? I mean, that's always nice.
I don't think this is a bad spot to maybe think about the dog here. I mean, I think they've been battle tested for sure. They played some tough football teams so far.
Yeah.
I mean, but so is Florida Atlantic. So, both these
Yeah.
teams are obviously in for it, and you know, I wonder. I mean, does things start to sour at FAU? Maybe Lane says, "You know what? I've done enough here. Let's move on." I mean, I could see them losing this game, and it's 2-3, and you're like, "Uh oh, what's going on with the Lane train?" Stockstill's a good coach, and he's got a good quarterback, and their defenses played better. I mean, I think they hope they play better, but this team did give up 37 points to Tennessee Martin. They've given up 35, 37, and
Mhm.
49. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't bode well for them against FAU because they're a good offense also. So, yeah, it might be a bit too low as a total. It should get into the 30s, I would think. Um, I don't like the FAU quarterback. Yeah, I hear you. Ty Lee has done nothing this year. He's been terrible. You would have think he'd been better this year, but
He
he
hasn't, he
hasn't.
really hasn't. Yeah. Then that's the whole
Uh,
accountability issue when you're looking for get a total, like, look, I love a really good quarterback, Jeff, but if he's gonna throw 7-yard outs and 8-yard slants up and down the field and they go 6 plays, 31 yards and 4 minutes off the clock and miss a field goal, sayonara to your over under.
Now, Donnie, I've told you, and I'm going to tell you again. Every
Mhm.
Thursday, I do a call-in show with, well, it's a little spot I do on a radio station in East Carolina, in Greenville, and they ask me about East Carolina every week, and I've been on the money every week. I've called this team perfectly. I said they lose week one. I said they beat North Carolina in week two. I said last week they cover against South Florida, and this week they have Old Dominion, who's off a big win. But are you ready to lay a touchdown with the Pirates? I mean, this is a big number.
Am I? No, I didn't even look at the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is wild. I mean, but you got to ask yourself, what Old Dominion team are you going to get? And that's what was so unbelievable at Vatech win because they looked awful against Liberty. They looked terrible against Florida International, and they lost to Charlotte. I mean, then you go put 49 points up and throw for 495 yards. To me, that looks like that was just one of those games. They just played well, everything worked. You got to figure there's a big time letdown game, and East Carolina's played a lot better.
Yeah, and
Because East
how good is
Carolina,
ODU on offense now? Look, I know they're probably gonna go with the, LaRusso kid, but or LaRussa kid. What are they going to have a repeat of perform? It seems like that was one of those once in a lifetime. We're going to get after a really good defense with a great coordinator and score a lot of points on him with a backup. One would think that wouldn't be the same high this week, but do they come out same high octane and just push the football up and down the field, jump balls that come down in favor?
yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting game. It is really interesting as far as do you buy into East Carolina? They're at home. This is an opponent that they can beat, or do you just kind of ride momentum with Old Dominion?
Yeah,
I'm more or less in thought that Old Dominion that was just a one game thing, but it's interesting for sure. Donnie,
yeah.
we'll wrap it up kind of just chatting a bit about the NFL. Obviously, we will keep talking about the NFL today on WCKG Fox Sports Radio in Chicago at 3 p.m., 2 p.m. Central. How do you think the show's been going, Donnie? It's fun stuff, isn't it?
Good fun. It's a lot of fun to do. You know what I mean? It's only going to expand and grow, and we'll have more fun on the show. Maybe even a longer time slot if it gets appreciated there. And who knows, syndication, come to different cities, have some fun. But it's an easy show to do for us. Most people, most radio shows, they're going to come on for 2 hours or a 3 hour block. They're going to talk for 5 minutes and take a 5 minute commercial break. Not what me and the big man on campus do. I mean, you see us come here every day. An hour show goes by like, in the flash of a button, no commercials, no downtime, no dead air, just information. We're having fun, and we're doing the same thing in Chicago. And we'll open the show and expand after maybe a month or two, maybe take some calls, have some guests on there. But right now, we're just fighting our way through just to make sure all the technical glitches are out. And it sounds like a good show, crystal clear. I know a lot of people have downloaded the application. You can listen to it on your phone, in the gym, in the car, do whatever you want. It comes in crystal clear, and it's great. We're having a good time with it.
I will say this. I think I'm ready to. I could do 3 hours on that show. I mean, it's quick, it's easy, it goes fast. We have good conversation. So yeah, it's been enjoyable, and we'll keep talking NFL there. The one thing I am worried about this week is Sam Darnold. I think he struggles a lot against Jacksonville. I mean, for good reason. This guy's kind of hit a bit of a wall. I mean, he's not played particularly well lately. Um, Jacksonville's not going to give him anything. I think he really struggles this week against the Jags. That's one I'm maybe looking to lay a big number in. But Donnie, we'll talk about all that on the show today. Make sure you check it out. How do we get the show? You download WCKG Chicago. Download the app. I can put that in the description, in the comment box. Download that app, and you can listen every day at 3 Eastern, 2 p.m. Central.
Yeah, even
There you
even
go,
for
Sean.
a nudnik like me online who's a little bit older, it's very easy. Google App Store pops right up, iTunes pops right up. Just type in those call
Yeah.
letters right there. You hit one button to download, put it on your front page, click on at 3 o'clock, and you're ready to go.
Exactly. That's exactly
Mhm.
right, Donnie. So yeah, check us out for that today at 3. Also tonight I will have Drew Martin. Drew Martin, I'll be on with him, student section. We'll do some college football there. Donnie's got his Audible show tomorrow, so a lot of football to talk about. We'll be on Saturday as well, and all sorts of stuff. So make sure you check out all the stuff over the week and at the weekend here in SBR. Donnie, good stuff today as always, and we'll see you tomorrow here on a Football Friday. Have a great day. Bye bye.